back 25% through 75%. And that really helped me because when I was going so long, my face was moving. My face angle would move as I would ease into the ball. I want to hit this ball aggressively, but still have it die into the hole. Now, we have a tendency when we go short back to get a little handsy. We have to keep our grip pressure light to combat that. So I keep my grip pressure light. I go back 25 and go through 75. That's the basis for the technique. But as I'm doing this drill, I'm letting the number get in my head and I'm creating a rhythm with it. 1. I try to keep the steps the same. 2. 25, 75. 3. 4. 5. After 5, I take the balls out of the hole because the hole starts to fill up. I try not to step in the line because that can make a big difference too. Your goal may not be to make 100 in a row, but it might be 10 to get 10 in a row. It might be 50 depending on your skill level. But this is the foundation of our short game. Getting back in the rhythm, 6. Moving over, stepping the same way, 7. I also see how the breaks are starting to go from a hook break to a slice break. 8. 9. And 10. By getting this rhythm down, when I'm on the golf course and I have a pressure putt, I will step to the side and create the same rhythm that this drill, this foundation has given me. The numbers might change. 56, 57, 58. I'll even step over here to a blank ball just to keep that rhythm in my head. When I won the 2005 PGA at Baltusrol, I came to the last hole and I hit a chip shot 3 feet.
This is where years of playing these things pays off right here.
It's a good one. It's a great one.
And my arms went up because it was inside this circle. I knew I was going to make it. And as I was putting, I went to the side before the putt. 87, stepped in, 88. That's all that was in my head was those numbers.
He's the champion. And Phil's fanatics rejoice.
It helps me deal with pressure when I'm on my own to get ready for major championships because when I'm on my own and I get into the high numbers, 88, 89, 94, 95, those last few putts are so difficult because I don't want to miss. I don't want to start back over at 1. So it gives me a goal and an opportunity to practice pressure when I'm out on my own. I just wanted to show you how to set up the 3-foot drill. I take a 7-iron. I'm trying to extend my 3-foot circle out. You can take a sand wedge. Start with probably a sand wedge would be the best club so that you're exactly at 36 inches. But I lay the club down and I just pop a tee in the end. I reach over, lay it down, pop a tee in, reach over, and pop a tee in. So when you get done putting all 10 tees down, then go around and put the golf balls just on the side of the tee. I've moved back now to a 6-foot drill. I will do the 3-foot drill, that's my foundation. But I will spend a lot of time on 6-foot drill because at 6 feet is where the break of the putt is so much more noticeable. You have to read these putts perfectly and hit perfect speed to make them, and yet these are also the putts that we have to make to win golf tournaments. These are the putts that we have to make to shoot low scores. So I will do this circle. Now, if my goal on the 3-foot circle is 100 in a row, my goal is to get around this circle 1 time, and it is not easy. But I'm still thinking 25-75, the same technique as the 3-foot drill. Again, that's my foundation. I try to start at a straight putt because as I do that and go around the circle, I'm able to see the difference in a hook putt, in a slice putt, and it helps me read the greens out on the course. Already I missed one. It's not the easiest to pick up the read. In fact, this you can really see how much it breaks. So I'm playing that 6 inches outside the edge on these 6-foot putts. I'm watching, trying to learn the read, because I know when I get out on the course, that's going to be critical. There we go. The numbers aren't going to lie. We're down to about 55, 60% from 6 feet, and that's about what I'm making. In fact, it'd be nice if I could even do a little better. So I'm following the read. I'm not getting discouraged because I know that I'm going to spend a little more time on this and improve it before I go play. And then lastly, for 70%, perfect. That's right on the numbers. 70%, right where I should be. For the 6-foot drill, I take a sand wedge and I just roll it over. So I pop it in the hole and I just roll it over and put a tee down. I do it 10 times around. I have never met an amateur who reads enough break in their putts. In fact, I've only played with a couple of tour pros who read the proper amount of break. Dave Pelz did a study that high handicappers on putts over 20 feet underread their putts 100% of the time. You've got to be kidding me. So what I've done is I've set up a device here that will show you what is actually happening. I asked a scratch player to read this putt for me before we started. He said 2 cups out, thinking he was being generous on his break. So I set up the string about 8.5 inches out, just like 2 cups. Now, for me to make this putt, if I start at 8.5 inches out, I miss it low every time. I have to aim 2 feet out. But what people are seeing is important. What they're seeing is 8 inches of break, and then they have to pull or push their ball above the correct line. So this will give you a good idea visually of what's happening. If this is the line people are seeing, they're moving it above that line to give it any chance of going in the hole. And then they look at it and say, oh, see, it breaks 8 inches. No, it doesn't. And then they come out here and they say the apex is about here. The apex is about there. What are you talking about? The apex is impact. The ball is going low right off the face. Let me show you what's actually happening. I'm going to more than double his break to almost 2 feet. This way you'll see the ball start down the string. And you'll see how the ball is going low of the string the entire time. That's what's happening. Let's train ourselves to do it properly so we're reading exact amount of break so that every putt truly is a straight putt. If we do that, we don't have to push or pull our putts and compensate for our misalignment or our misreading. We have to train our eyes. We'll use this device to make sure where we're starting the ball is where we think we're starting it. It'll help us aim. Then on the golf course, we will have trained our eyes so when we look up, we know exactly where we're aimed and we're going to start making more putts. The reason why when you come out to PGA Tour events, especially major championships, you see me using these devices on the practice green. It's because every day I have to train myself to read greens properly. I have to train myself to line up properly. And so at those major championships, especially where the greens are so fast, where the breaks are that much greater, I have to retrain myself every day. And so I rely on these devices to get my feel down, to get my visual sight lines down. Now I'm in the exact same spot where we had the sticker dots, we had the elevated aim line, which was the string, and we had the putting tutor. And I removed all helpful devices because ultimately we're going to be on the golf course and we need to be able to identify this without all the help from the aids. But I know exactly what this putt does, I know where I need to aim, and I know what the speed needs to be. And so I'm trying now to be able to do that without the help of all the aids. Now, I have to identify, did I miss that putt because I played too much break, or did I miss it because I hit it too hard? And obviously I hit it too hard. So I'm going to try to do the same putt with a little bit softer speed and see if I can get it to go back in the hole. There we go. So it goes back to identifying what is truly the problem. But without all the aids, we are now ready to practice putts without the aids, now that we know exactly what is going on. Where we have to aim, we've trained our eyes to aim properly, we've trained our body to line up properly, we've trained the face to be aimed there, we've read the green properly. Now we just have to have the right feel, the right touch to get the right speed for it to go in. In earlier sections, we saw how quickly the percentage of putts made falls off exponentially around the hole. Well, when we get back to 40, 50, 60 feet, the numbers of making putts, the percentages, are so minuscule that that is not our goal. Our goal is to get these putts inside 3 feet, which we know will make the next one. A few years ago, Dave Pelz gave me this awesome drill that has become the mainstay, the foundation for my lag putting. It's the 40, 50, 60 drill, where I have to hit 3 putts from each location, all inside that 3-foot circle, and then finish with a 10th ball from 50 feet. When I first was given this, I said nobody has ever done this. But as I used it and practiced it more and more, my touch got better and I was able to do it. In fact, I won the 2006 Masters 2 months after getting this drill from Dave. Now, before I start though, I need to share with you technically what we're doing, because there are 2 variables in lag putting. One of them is the backstroke length. How far back do we swing? And the second is how much effort, how much energy do we use going forward? We need to take one of those variables out and make it a constant so that we only are adjusting one. We have to keep the amount of energy that we use going forward the same, and that is as much as we can. We want to swing forward as much as we can, as hard as we can, without increasing grip pressure, obviously. But that will allow us to have only the backstroke be the variable. So on this 50-foot putt, I'm going to try to go through as hard as I can, and I'll vary only the backstroke. So you see the finish was aggressive through the ball, and I hit that ball too hard. So I would have to start over and go back to a new ball. But I'm going to make a shorter backstroke with the same amount of energy going forward, and now the ball went into the 3-foot circle. Now what this is doing is building a reference for the golf course. When I get out on the course and I have a putt of 50 feet, I now have a reference. That's why I also do it uphill and downhill, because when we get out on the course, we need to have something to refer back to from our practice to help us get these putts close. So let's say I got all 3 of them in, the second 2 went in. In fact, one of them got in the hole. Then I move up to 40 feet. The energy level going forward is the same, just as hard as I possibly can, but I shorten the backstroke. Now, I'm not trying to make this, I'm trying to just get it to creep into that 3-foot circle, and it got just past those tees. I put those tees there as a visual reference for me to know if the ball got into the circle. Now, 40 feet isn't so tough, not nearly as tough as 60 feet. So I'll move all the way back here now. I'm going to have to use a little bit more backstroke, obviously, but the same effort level. So the only variable is how far back I stroke. It's important to know that downhill putts are 3-putted 3 times more often than uphill putts. So let's spend a little bit more time refining our feel and our touch on the lag drill downhill. Now again, this is building a reference for me when I get out on the golf course. I now have a feel of what a 60-foot stroke feels like. And by eliminating one of the variables, which is how hard should I go through the ball, and making it a constant, all I have to do is adjust the backstroke. And because those got in, I would just finish up here now on the 50-footer. I would drop the 10th ball, and that would also be another way where I work on pressure, because this would be my last putt. I would want desperately to get this one in so I didn't have to start all over again. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking practice strokes using that 50-foot reference that I had earlier. Obviously, I'm going through as hard as I can, using the same speed, the same constant speed going through. But I'm trying to find now at what point was that backstroke that I found that allowed me to get these 50-foot putts close. Oh yeah, it was about there. In putting, I've mentioned how there are many, many different ways to putt effectively, many different strokes that can get the ball in the hole. In chipping, that's not the case. In chipping, there is only one effective way to chip. Now, I've seen some other methods taught in some of the magazines, but I'd like to refer to those. I see two things being taught. One of them is referring to a clock, where you go back and through the same distance. That's crazy. You take the club back so far that you have all this stored energy, and the only way to hit the ball close to the hole is to ease into it. You cannot hit chips well that way. You have to be aggressive into the ball, aggressive impact condition to be effective and consistent chipping. And when you take the club so far back, you simply have too much energy to do any of that well. The other method I hear is to lock your wrists. What? Lock your wrists? That comes in so shallow into the ball, you have no chance of hitting the ball consistently. You want to get the club up quickly, breaking your wrist, and into the ground aggressively. If anybody teaches you one of those two methods, go somewhere else. They might be great with the long game, and stick with them for that. But for short game, you've got to run and find somebody who knows what the hell they're talking about. Now, the one correct way of doing it is a method I call hinge and hold, but